CTV News at 5 with Hudson Mack.
People who are living with mental health issues and addictions will soon have better access to support services in downtown Victoria. They're a hard-to-reach group, or are considered to be, but service providers have devised a new strategy that will connect with them. Healthcare workers partnered with local police and government and spent a year looking for new ways to reach and to treat the vulnerable population. As a result, 2 downtown health centers will expand, and a new outreach team will hit the streets to bring services to their clients.
You know, when you can build relationships with people that are hard to reach, who are really vulnerable, who are living on the streets, who are using illicit drugs, the relationship is really key. And with that relationship, you can help them access the particular health services that they need. Often they don't need to be going to the emergency room, but they go there because that's the only place that they can go.
The new model will be introduced over the next year and a half. The goal is to help people who need support, improve community safety, and reduce the spread of disease among the downtown community. Suspected arson in Victoria early this morning. An explosion ignited a house fire on Queens Avenue. No one's living in the house right now, but a man who lives in a trailer on the property made the call to 911. Firefighters thought that the fire seemed suspicious, so they immediately called police. They sealed off the area. Nobody was hurt, but the house has been badly damaged.
It's pretty charred inside. This looks like a knockdown.
We have been to that house a few times in the last little while. I don't know the exact number of calls for service, but I do know our officers have attended for a number of different calls.
Vic PD says the house has been unoccupied for some time, and the Victoria Police Detective Unit is now investigating that fire as arson. Well, amid the rash of pedestrian accidents on Vancouver Island and across the province, including hit and runs, RCMP in Surrey have now made an arrest. They have picked up the driver they suspect was driving in a hit and run caught on surveillance video. A 53-year-old Surrey man is now charged with dangerous driving causing bodily harm in the crash that hit 2 women who were out jogging on Monday night. Traffic camera footage shows a white vehicle striking the woman in a marked crosswalk. They were wearing reflective clothing and lights. The suspect's vehicle has been seized. The coroner is urging pedestrians and drivers again to be careful, saying that pedestrians must remain visible, drivers must remain alert. 13 pedestrians have been killed over the past 5 weeks across BC. The Victoria Police Department's putting more muscle into its presence online. The new vicpd.ca hit the website this morning. The department says the site is designed to engage the community and to make you an online crime fighter. With the click of your mouse, you can track and report crime. VicPD says it wants you to get involved and to stay informed.
The eyes and ears of this department are often the community and members of the community. So when we have a public that's well informed, that's plugged into our station here, we get to learn about things that happen in our communities. So it's just a way to bring the technology into people's homes so that they can report crime in a way that they're comfortable with. And in this case, our online crime reporting is a way to do that.
VicPD says the new site takes some of the pressure off its frontline officers as well, so they can focus on more proactive and preventative police work. And if you are on the other side of the criminal coin and you need help after you've been arrested, there's a new app for that. The BC Civil Liberties Association is providing a free smartphone app that outlines your rights. It is based on material that's contained in the association's handbook that provides easy-to-read, basic information about your legal and constitutional rights when it comes to arrest, detention, and police searches. You can download that app at bccla.org or via iTunes. The union representing Canadian Coast Guard workers says MP John Duncan could lose his seat in the House of Commons. They say proposed cuts to the Coast Guard have infuriated Duncan's constituents in the Vancouver Island North riding, so much so that anger will likely make its way to the ballot box in the next election. A poll commissioned by the Canadian Auto Workers Union shows 79% of voters in Vancouver Island North oppose the Coast Guard cutbacks. Those include the closure of the Kitsilano Coast Guard Station in Vancouver, as well as marine communications centers in Comox, Tofino, and Vancouver. The Tofino facility is slated to close in the spring of 2014, Comox the following year.
We've been trying to put the message out there of the services that we provide. Light stations, for example, had a Senate committee study them, and it was determined that the safety services they provide, such as weather observations, were vital, and the destaffing should stop. So the 2 centers on Vancouver Island that are impacted, Ucluelet and Comox, are the only two centers that actually provide weather information, and those are being closed.
And the union says the situation will only get worse for the Conservative MPs if the party refuses to listen to public opposition. Duncan says Coast Guard decisions are made based on recommendations from experts and are intended and designed to protect Canadians. He adds that the Coast Guard will continue to use the same network of ships and responders on Vancouver Island. The Duchess of Cambridge has left a hospital in London where she's been treated this week for her severe form of morning sickness. With her husband, Prince William, at her side, Kate Middleton stepped out of the hospital this morning and got into a waiting car. Kate is suffering from hyperemesis gravidarum. Pregnant women who have that rare condition are often unable to keep any food or liquids down and have to be supplemented with intravenous fluids, as Kate was in the hospital. The baby will be third in line to the throne and will become monarch regardless of its sex, girl or boy, following recent changes to the royal succession rules. Well, hockey fans have been on the edge of their seats all week with negotiations between the National Hockey League and its locked-out players' union going almost round the clock. And then this afternoon came word from New York, a news conference hastily called by the Players Association. Fans wondered if this might finally be it.
We think there is a complete agreement on dollars. If that's the case, and we think it is, there wouldn't seem to be very much reason why we shouldn't be able to conclude an agreement in the near term.
Hockey-starved fans' hearts were pounding after those words from Donald Fair. It appeared that a partial season might be salvaged, but just minutes later, he came back to the podium after getting word back from the NHL, word the players didn't want to hear. The proposal was rejected outright, and both sides have had enough.
What can we tell the hockey fans of Canada? I think you can tell them that it looks like this is not going to be resolved in the immediate future.
At some point, you've given as much, if not more, than you probably should have. And at some point, you have to draw a line in the sand and say, this is the, excuse me, I'm speaking. At some point, you have to say, this is the best that we can do.
So maybe this is it. Talks are off. No future sessions are scheduled. Bettman is also complaining that the Players Association may have gotten fans' hopes up through the media more than once this week, that a deal was close when it wasn't. He says that's never been the case. Both sides claim they have the majority of movement, or have made the majority of movement in these negotiations. It's the time of year when people pitch in to help others, and students at Mount Doug are doing just that, and they're hoping that you'll help them reach their goal as they try to fill the front entrance of their school with new toys and food. It's the first year of the Fill the Foyer campaign at Mount Doug. Classes are competing to see who can raise the most donations, but they need a little help.
We who are so very fortunate can do so much to help those that are less fortunate, and there's a lot of heart and soul and a feeling of givingness here at Mount Doug, and our kids just want to support those who need it, and they want to give back to the communities that have supported them.
You can help by bringing food or an unwrapped toy to Mount Doug Secondary on Saturday, December 15th from 11 till 3, and students will be there to hand out hot chocolate and coffee for a donation to help. Well, the city of Nanaimo brought out the heavy hitters today to meet with a group trying to save the colliery dams. The Harbor City landmarks are slated to be demolished because a study shows they are not seismically sound. The news prompted outrage from people who use the area for recreation, and a bid's been launched to try to save the dams. Representatives from the provincial dam safety branch were on hand today to explain provincial requirements. The Nanaimo engineers, who also did the seismic study, attended as well. The fear is that the dams would collapse in an earthquake and would flood the surrounding neighborhood.
We want to really come to a clear understanding of the technical information related to the condition of the dams, the inundation, and the public safety risks that these dams pose.
The city hopes that dam supporters will see that they are unsafe and are too costly to remediate. Information from the meeting today will be included in a staff report to go to Nanaimo Council on December 17th. The city welcomes anyone who has concerns about the dams to attend. The Regional District of Nanaimo has charged 2 people with bylaw offenses, both for illegal dumping. Richard Sitar and Nikki Deer are accused of dumping waste outside a licensed disposal facility. The 2 cases are not connected, but both failed to show up for their first scheduled court appearances, so bench warrants have now been issued. The RDN says it relies partly on you to report illegal dumping.
Our aim is to make them aware of what they've done and that it's inappropriate and have them clean it up. If we're not successful with that, then the next step is to bring it forward for a legal resolution.
This is the first time the district has laid charges under the bylaw, and the RDN says it hopes that the charges will send a message that this illegal dumping is not just disgusting, but it's going to be prosecuted and taken seriously. People convicted of illegal dumping can face a penalty up to $200,000.